Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast with your host, Brett Bovin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Bovin. And if this is your first time tuning into the show, thank you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. This is the show for all hunters and outdoorsmen alike. Call it the Electronic Campfire. We get to share stories and learn new strategies, stuff like that, and a whole bunch of other fun shit that we like to talk about as well. Today is Sunday, December 1st. We are back, and happy Thanksgiving, post-Thanksgiving. Happy to everyone out there. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Now we are back into archery season here in the state of Michigan. So done with all those gun hunting sissies. We all know my stance on that. Anyways, where was I? I was at this. Anyways, I lost track of that now. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to drop them in the comment section and we'll pop them up during the show. I'm looking forward to tonight. The guest, he's been a previous guest on the show before, so he knows the routine, and I'm texting him right now and he's still not here. So otherwise, we're going to kick him off the show. Anyways, with that being said, I just want to say thank you everyone for tuning in for tonight's show. Again, feel free to drop them in the comment section. We'll pop up your comments, questions, anything like that. We also have a saying on the show, recording a slot machine. I strongly believe that hunting, I'm all over the place today. Yesterday was a great day for college football, so I'm like half thinking about that, half thinking about the huge thunderstorm, snowstorm that we're going to be getting tonight. John just told me that we're going to be getting a foot of snow tonight, so I just want to go just bury myself in the snow for the rest of the night because I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. But we all know I don't like doing intros, so enough of me jibber jabbering. Let's just bring everybody in for tonight. Oh, what is up, fellas?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, our guest is here. Oh my gosh. You know what? I see the guest. We're gonna bring. Hey, there's Andrew, but we're gonna put him in timeout. You show up late to our show, you dick. Not bring him back. Well, here's our guest for tonight, Andrew. Thank you for finally tuning into the show. Geez, it's nothing like turning into a show that you're a guest on and being late to it. Very professional. And he's fucking muted. And we can't hear you.
Is the mic on?
I don't know. He's an idiot. No, now he's muted himself.
No, he's off now.
Let's see if he talks now.
Nope.
Yep, it's working now. We're good.
Just move your lips. We'll say stuff for you.
Yeah, just tell me if you're talking.
My God, that'd be priceless.
Anyways,
Godzilla.
remember those old Godzilla movies where they talk and then nothing would come out and then words later would appear?
The old Chinese
was
kung
so
fu
bad.
movie.
You got me?
Yep.
Yeah,
There you
we
go.
hear
Holy
you now.
shit.
Golly.
It was better before when we couldn't hear you.
It's that damn link you sent me. Not working.
Yeah, that's my fault. Fucking technology. Anyways, Andrew, thanks for coming back on the show. Thank you again. For anyone that doesn't know Andrew, go back and listen to his episode. We've had him on before when we were covering New Jersey. But Andrew, give everyone a little background about yourself real quick.
Yes, sir. I'm Andrew Fitzgerald. I am the founder of Die Hard Outdoors, and that's about it. Anything
That's good
else you
enough.
need to know? It's probably not very relevant or important.
I love it. I love that. Well, everyone, tonight we're just going to be talking about whatever. I know Andrew, he loves to bump bucks. I know he loves to do that. I know we like to talk about that. And him and I have talked about like the competition in the hunting world that we have. It's kind of a good or a bad thing. How it depends on how you look at it. And So I just want to kind of get everyone's opinion. Andrew, talk about your style when you're talking about bumping bucks.
I guess a good example of it, I just did it last weekend. I don't know. I guess I go into certain spots looking. I have spots that like I guess areas, WMAs or just large areas that I want to hunt, but I either don't have them scouted or I don't have bucks pinpointed. I just know maybe there's a good one within this 300 acres or whatever the case is. So, a lot of times I'll walk in, I'll look for really hot sign. And if I'm just not seeing the sign that I want to see, or if I'm not seeing the setup that I feel real confident in, I'll just walk until I bump one, kind of a midday bump. And, with the wind in my favor, there's a lot of things you got to do right for it to work, but I'll just kind of walk until I bump a good one. And then that's where I set up. I use that bump and dump method. I bump them. And if it's the right setup, if it's the right kind of bump that I'm looking for, I'll sit right there. And a lot of times a good mature one will come cruising right back from where it was. We've talked about it before, Brett, kind of like that, almost like intrusion idea for a person. Like you might be a little sketchy going back to your house if it was robbed, but your house is your house. You feel comfortable at somewhere that you feel somewhat safe. You're not going to just sell your house if something goes wrong in it, so I kind of look at that the same way with deer. And it's worked pretty good. I did it last weekend right here in Jersey on a little piece, and for as small as it was and as kind of like suburban kind of deal it was, they came right back. And I could have killed a couple decent ones, but it's just not really the ones I was looking for. But yeah, that bump and dump method, I get a lot of hate for that. A lot of people hate the way that I do that, and they think I'm retarded until it works. So I hear it all the time. They think I'm the worst hunter in the entire world for doing it. But I guess where it really comes from is that sometimes I just get too bored doing the same thing over and over again. So it started as a reason for not wanting to just go sit my stand. I wanted to do something different, and I've heard the ideas and the strategies from other guys doing it, and it works out pretty good. It works good when you do it right. When you don't do it right, you blow up a spot and make it look really bad. It's goes from bad to worse really, really fast if you don't do it right. But when you do it right, it works good, and you can find a lot of success doing it.
Guys, I'm gonna leave this up to any of you guys. Have you guys tried doing that type of method? Well, what's your guys' opinion on it?
I've never done that. I've always tried to stay clear of a buck's bedding area. Just due to the fact that a smart, older, mature buck catches your scent and he catches it there more than once or twice, you're going to blow the area up. Of course, there's different deer in different areas of the United States to do different stuff, and you can't always go by what happens to you exactly. But for me, no, I would never personally do that myself.
I will say it's definitely not a method you should do on your everyday property. You're taking a huge swing. You're usually, if you do it, you're not going to get many chances after that if it doesn't work. So it's one of those deals that you kind of do and you hope it works that day. And if it doesn't, then it's a spot like I won't, unless everything is perfect for it, I won't do it more than once on that same spot within a month and a half span. But like you got to approach it with the wind directly in your face, kind of thermal's working for you. Everything's got to be right for it to do it. And when it does work out, it usually does work. Mm-hmm. But that's right. I won't do that. Usually if I take a swing like that, I won't do it again I won't hunt that same area for quite some time.
Have you ever heard of the Benoits?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They're actually some guys I was just talking about with a friend, and that family is just full of savages.
Yeah, well, Lanny and Mr. Benoit himself, the old man, when they would hunt the big woods of Maine, they would do a situation like that, but they had hundreds of thousands of acres, and they would actually tire a buck out. Once they bounced them out of the bed, the two of them would you're talking guys that were doing this from the day they were born. They were also American Indian. and their hunting style was totally crazy. They would chase down a buck to just about the point of exhaustion. And if they didn't get him that day, they would take the track back up the next day and push that deer. And what they realized happens, just like a rabbit, because I used to hunt a lot of rabbits with my dogs, a rabbit makes a big circle. And deer tend to do the same things, okay? So what you're basing your strategy on is almost what they used to do a little bit, but in a different aspect. I don't know if you've got the acreage that they have. It's a pretty risky maneuver in my opinion, but that's my opinion only. You know, I personally would never go invade a buck's bedroom. I would try to stay out and try to get his transitions. But hey, different deer, different areas, you know.
The Benoits are more like Hail Blood and those guys. That's more of just like tracking.
Yeah.
This isn't so much tracking, which it does involve that. You do have to read the sign, because I mean, there's been a lot of times where I've set up on bucks that I thought, you know, we're making crazy rubs, and I saw big beds and this and that, and they're just not the buck I'm looking for. So like that definitely does happen, but it's more of like, this is something that I got from the DeQuistos, and to me it was an idea. They were talking about bumping a buck, sitting on his bed, and a mature buck that runs that area, a mature dominant buck runs that area, usually will come back just out of the curiosity aspect of a deer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure all of you guys have seen it before. You know, you're walking down a hedgerow or, you know, maybe a cornfield, and you see a deer, but you don't stop. You don't point at it. You don't look at it, but you see him and he sees you. And you, a lot of times, if he doesn't think like you see him, or if he doesn't think that he's in danger, he just won't move. Like if he thinks he's covered up, or if he doesn't think he's being seen, he just won't move. And it's kind of like that factor of comfortability for them. So if it's not a hard bump, I mean, how many times have you guys bumped deer?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even getting into your stand, you bump deer, and they do come right back. I mean, I think when that buck is the dominant buck in that area, he's not just going to give up, because if he doesn't smell you and he only sees very little bit, you're no different than a coyote or a bear in our case here, which happens a lot. You're no different than just a hiker. Like there's no different. It's just making sure that you do all those things correctly that might lead up to the success. And I've done it where like I do that a lot on pieces that I don't have any history with, and I just want to go hunt a new spot with. And I did it a couple of years ago where I killed a buck, a good 8-pointer, by just walking. It was a property where I was surrounded by ag, and there was just like a 100-acre thicket in the middle of it. And I walked into that thicket, and I wouldn't stop walking with the wind in my face until I bumped a buck. Well, I bumped him, and as soon as he bumped, super light, he was kind of slowing down about 50 yards from where I bumped him. I kind of trotted up to him. So he didn't turn around. He didn't see me. He didn't get a chance to analyze the situation. He cleared the hill, and I'd say within 2 hours, that buck J-hooked right back down, and I shot him. He J-hooked right back down into that bedroom. He kind of came back down a little bit of a different way, and J-hooked from where I came in from. And by the time he started picking up my scent from where I came in, I mean, he already had an arrow through his cage. So when you do it right, it's incredible. But you're 90% of the time running the risk of ruining a spot. And I mean, that's just kind of the game you play when you play with whitetails. I mean, they usually beat you more than not. So it's definitely risky. It's definitely not something I would do if you are afraid of ruining a day. It just kind of, keeps it interesting, keeps you on your toes, gives you a little bit more respect for how smart these animals are.
Are you hunting private or are you hunting public?
Both.
Both.
I've done it on both. It just kind of, like I said, it depends on the situation. Where I hunted tonight, I could never do it on. It's only about a 12-acre piece that I'm hunting in. Their bedroom is, say, 4 acres of that 12.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't have the room to do it. Here, I'm just hunting on a kind of travel corridors, transition areas, stuff like that here. I don't even really have much food on this piece. It's just from bed to food to the other neighbors is really what it is. So I could never really do it here.
Sure.
But other spots are really great. Like, I don't know how well you guys know Jersey, but Jersey, a lot of the WMAs are kind of mistreated by the state. They don't get cared for here. So you could get away with going onto a piece that looks like a hairbrush, and you can bump a ton of deer doing it. And if you do it right, it's fun. Again, a lot of what it comes from is like, man, I don't feel like sitting in this spot. I don't feel like sitting in that spot. I don't feel like sitting in this spot. And, I just feel like doing something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good time. But yeah, a lot of time the deer wins and you look silly. But I mean, that could happen anytime. So.
Oh yeah.
What I do generally, when I talked to you about this before, Andrew, I was kind of thinking about, do I do that or not? And I realized I kind of do it more in the off season. What I mean by that is when I'm doing my winter scouting, I'm on their tracks generally to see where they're going. I've kind of like made a little thing on my mobile hunting app that I use, and I track to see where I've walked and shit like that. And I look to see, and people ask like, well, are you concerned about what's it like doing to the deer on your own property right there? And I said, yes and no, but mainly no, because I look at, if I bump a buck or bump a deer, because they're all going to have their antlers gone at this point. I'm looking at the terrain and looking at what's happening in that area, like what caused a deer to want to bed here and what made a deer want to travel through this area. And I'm looking at all these signs and I'm thinking, well, if something was using this now, something's going to want to use this later on in the future. So I'm not necessarily concerned about it at the moment. John, and I know you guys are also in heavy winter areas, and let's take a time out and look at what Andrew's drinking. It looks like he just got that up at Starbucks like a fucking 17-year-old girl. Is
that a Zima?
Let's go get a Starbucks drink.
Oh my God.
That's 90 proof moonshine. You that'll put hair in your chest over there, Brett. I know you Michigan guys don't know much about strong drinks, but
hey.
Here.
Let's put a time out there. You're crossing the line there about strong drinks,
I am not your guest tonight, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're banned from the show.
You guys beat Ohio State one time in your whole life, and you guys are doing all right.
Actually, 4 years in a row, and
that's 4 years in a row, and that's where
we have the most wins against them still.
That's David over there.
That was a wild game. But
yeah, well, I'll get back to my point here in a second. Look, let's talk about college football for a second and how many fights broke out at the end of rivalry week. Fucking Michigan, Ohio State. You had North Carolina State, Arizona State.
What was it? Iowa, Nebraska.
They wasn't a big one. There's other ones. I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember them right now, but I know like Oregon and Washington, we're each other's rivals. I think we had the most sophisticated rivalry because I haven't seen like any fights ever really break out between Oregon and Washington. So we're more.
They're all dressed up girls anyway,
Yeah. We're the happy bunch of people, I guess. I don't know.
Oregon by far has the best uniforms that any college organization has.
That's the only reason why my kid likes Oregon, is because of their uniforms.
They need something to draw in people's attention.
They are pretty slick, though. I do think they're sharp. I'll give them that.
They're good fucking jerseys. Anyway, back to winter scouting here. Especially now we're here in winter. Let's start with you, John. Do you do anything different when the season's over and the winter scouting's coming along and shit like that?
Dude, once the season's over and the snow's on the ground, I'm out there hitting the woods, looking for trails, seeing where they're going, and putting out cameras to see what's still out there, what survived. Now, this year, it's completely different because EHD hit our area hard, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shooting amazing bucks all summer, all spring, all early season, and then mid-October and just nothing. I mean, they're finding them dead by the hundreds in our county. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to January, February timeframe where I can go back out there and start hitting the woods, not necessarily you know, like Andrew with the whole bumping a buck. I just want to get out there and see what I can find. Start looking for trails. Put cameras out. Once I find a decent spot where they're running through, I'll put a camera up and activate it and let it run all year just to see what's out there. And I'll do that all public land all around Allegan County, and pretty soon up by where Dave lives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't forget though, you can start hunting deer though for $5 a doe tag from like January 1st or 2nd to the 10th or 12th.
The 23rd, yeah, to the 23rd.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'd be careful how many doe you take out with it as hard as you got hit with EHD.
No, I know.
I know.
I don't think I'd shoot too many does.
They didn't get hit at all.
No.
No, and I've heard it mainly hit the bucks really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know, John, I have a buddy that hunts up in Allegan, and he found, and don't quote me because it's been a minute since I talked to him about it, but he found close to 100 dead bucks on his property that was within a square mile.
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
on the places where he hunts, I'm like, and that's private property. I'm like, holy shit. That was back when it like really kicked in like September and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's.
We found, I think there's 86 dead deer on a 140-acre farm where my cousins hunt. And that was during early to mid-October. And majority of them are all bucks and decent mature ones too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys out that way I'm hearing are just digging and putting in water because the droughts have been so bad. I got a buddy out in Indiana that got hit incredibly bad. Their whole county just got destroyed. Something like $400 in the county.
We don't have bad
of what you find. That's not including of what you don't find. 400 plus deer that are 3 years old or better bucks dead. That's a shame
around here. And that's where we're finding them by. I mean, there's so many natural rivers and streams through here. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there's so many bucks that have been found on the river. I mean, I have a couple buddies that just strictly fish, and they're posting pictures of bucks that they find that are better than what I've shot. So
when I was in the police academy, they said we had to do specific water training because they said no matter what in the state of Michigan, you're always within 6 or 5 miles, something like that, within a body of water.
Yeah.
So we had to do like a whole month of water training.
That's pretty wild. That's a wild.
That's the Navy SEAL.
Pretty cool.
Well, what was it? Michigan has more fresh water out of all of our Great Lakes than any other country in the world. I think we're number 1.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's why Michigan's badass, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Ohio.
And we have the militias. Shit goes south, we're covered.
Brett, do you do much in the off season?
I golf in the off season, so yeah, I do that a lot.
You should probably be walking in the woods anyway.
Yeah,
I got a feeling I got a feeling it's more of it's a participation type of deal for you when it comes to golf.
When he says golf, it's mini. It's not even real golf.
Yeah, it's mini golf. Damn it.
Golf courses with windmills.
He's got a record of like 0-1 handicap on the windmill.
Oh boy.
He's leaving. He's gone. He took off. That's it.
He bought new clubs. He's got a new putter.
What did he get? A mannequin to stand in now?
Oh, look, crying out loud, he said.
Here we go.
Yeah, right there.
That's
Look at
not
that.
going to save you, brother.
That's for anyone that's listening to the audio version of this. I'm holding up my putter, and everyone buys these Scotty Cameron putters for like $500, $600. I was at the store one day, and I was like looking around. I wasn't even planning to buy a new putter. Dave's losing his mind about me telling the story, so I was going to continue going on with it because it makes it even funnier now. I was putting this, and let's just say I bought it for like $100 on sale, and this thing has drained a lot of putts for me, and that's why this thing right here and my driver has helped me get to a 1 handicap. I'm basically considered a scratch golfer. So yeah, that's to answer your question there. Yeah, we lost John, so we won't fucking miss him anymore. Yeah. So to answer your question there, Andrew, when it comes to my off season stuff, I just hunt during the hunting season, and then once hunting season done, I basically put all that shit away and I focus on golf because I'm gonna go professional one day.
Yeah, and I identify as a golf club.
Yeah, well, there's always
right.
hope. There's always hope for people in the Special Olympics.
Yeah, the rest of us on the team, we're pretty much scouting in the winter,
Whitetail Advantage
all year, throwing up trail cams up all year.
We do Brett's side of his
shed
scouting.
hunting.
Tell him what to say and stuff.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, they do all the work for me.
We do all the work. We're like Brett's Angels if we were Charlie's Angels.
Brett's Angels.
Yeah, I mean, another unpopular opinion that I get a lot of backlash for is that I don't do any like off-season scouting. I think it's I think it's a huge waste of time. I mean, I hunt up until the end of the season. I hunt right till the end of January. As soon as they start dropping racks, that's when I'm kind of hunting up till. And Jersey, you can hunt till like fucking February 15th or something like that, 14th, whatever the case is. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but a lot of zones are open up till mid-February here. And once that ends, that's it. I mean, I run cameras all year, but I don't go shed hunting. I don't look for all that stuff. I figure, I mean,
what
they tend to not be the same spots as September. So I'll just go move around and stir a lot of shit up in August. But I mean, I do on family farms and my private stuff. I run cameras all year round, but not so much for the intel, more just to see what's lived and what hasn't lived.
That's
but
what I use it for, to see what survived.
Yeah. But if I'm looking at a new piece, the best time to scout it is when I'm getting ready to go kill. So I mean, I think you know what you're getting yourself into when you walk a piece of land and you see a giant 4-finger track. Like, you kind of know what you're getting into with that. So if I don't have a camera on it, I just hunt it until I see what I'm looking for. But
I think it depends. I think everyone asks, what do you do in the off season? What are you doing in the off season that helps give you the best chance of success? And I always tell people it all depends on where you're going to be hunting. Are you going to be hunting public land? Are you going to be in private land? Have you hunted it before? Is it something that you like? What is like? I need, like, for me personally, I need to know like all these variables to help you out in one situation. One generic thing that I can say what I do fits for me on my own property. And what I mean by that is I scout during the hunting season because I want to see what the fuck they're doing and where they're moving through. Like, I have photos on my camera that will show like one deer and I can't even see it. I just know it's a deer, and I send it to the group and they're like, well, it's not a deer. There's not a deer. Fuck you. There's a fucking deer there in that photo. Anyways, I'll save photos like that so I can see where the deer were moving through the hunting season. So that way I'm like, well, I need to move my stand move closer over here and stuff like that. I'm scouting through that time. And then when the off season comes around, we're not talking about my practice for archery and shit like that. We can get to that later, but strictly doing for whitetails, I'll go out there and I'll scout a little bit for like some sheds if I get bored or something like that. But it's hard to find them on my property because on my property, we don't bed the bucks. They bed on another piece of the property on someone's, like, a neighboring property. We house basically all the does on our property. So it's like, there's like, I've searched before, never found one. I had to go to like public land or something like that to go look for him. But in the off season, what I'm doing is I'm moving my stands. I'm going to be buying a new saddle equipment stuff set up. So I'm more mobile. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, getting all claps. So I'm going to be moving. I move my stands in the off season based off the information I got during the hunting season. Because I'm already seeing when the deer are moving through while I'm out there hunting. I'm not just sitting out there hunting. I'm seeing where deer are moving. I'm like, fuck, I should be more over there. How can I get myself more of a 360 type of shot? How can I hit one piece of that part of the property and get this one and have a more well-rounded spot? That way And then I look at it like, well, can I put a stand here and get away with hunting any type of wind? For instance, I have one piece of property. I put a stand up. No matter what the wind direction is, I can hunt it. So I don't give two shits. It's my kind of safety net of, well, I want to go out hunting. I don't give a fuck about the wind. I'm going to go hunt there. So I'm basically on the off season, I'm doing all this stuff that I learned in the hunting season.
Yeah, people think I'm nuts when I said if you're trying to learn a piece of land in February, March, or April, like you're way behind. Like if you didn't figure that out throughout the season, like things change in the whitetail woods every single day. And Squatch, if I'm not mistaken, you hunt Jersey and New York and stuff like that. Like you hunt the East Coast side, right?
Yeah, I just started getting a little bit into. Haven't hunted in Jersey. I hunted on the border of Jersey, but born and raised in New York, up in the
yeah. So like New York's a perfect example. There's so much pressure in New York. Same thing with Michigan or PA. Like the woods in over here change on such a daily basis that if you're looking to get all your answers in the off season, you're just not going to get them. It's just not going to happen. You need to. I leave cameras out for a year and a half span where I hope that I get my information. Some of it, that I haven't been able to touch on. Like if I haven't been able to hunt a piece, I hope that my camera gives me enough information throughout an entire year and a half span that I'll go pick up. And so I have like 4 or 5 cameras now that I haven't checked in, I don't know, 15 months or so. Mm-hmm. And I just let them soak. And hopefully that gives me enough to tell me what I need to do the upcoming year.
So basically, what I rely on when I'm leaving the cameras out, I'm taking fawn data in the spring. I'm looking at the predator situation because I do a lot of predator hunting. And, after deer season's over, I'm out going after coyotes, fox, you name it, I'm out there. So that helps me to see what's going on after season. Typically, some of the areas that I'm in, you will still have a couple bucks to hold. It's nice to see if they made it through or not. I do agree with you as far as trying to get knowledge in the fall for summer ending into spring, and you can't go by that. You will see heavily used deer runs and stuff like that. They give you a good idea of a travel corridor to get something set up. But, I mean, a lot of the times a deer is born. I just read a study, and I can't take the credit for this, but I read a study that when a spike is born on your property and you see it and you let it walk, you're only building a deer for the next guy a couple acres over. We'll say within 5 to 12 miles, they say they've radio collared spikes that don't even stay in that area. So
yeah,
they move so much, and it's God's way of stopping inbreeding in the herd. They know to move away from their family and not breed their sister, and so on and so forth. It does happen. It does happen. It's not like it doesn't happen, but it does on occasion. Mm-hmm. But I typically read my herd by June. And if I start to see a buck that I'm after and he's kind of hanging around in June, he'll hang around all the way through into October, November. He'll be here. He may not be here all the time. I had a buck that was satelliting me almost 3 weeks at a time. And another friend of mine hunts about 2.5 miles up on the mountain from me. And he's like, oh, I've seen that deer up on my cameras. And I'm like, that's where he's going on his walkabout. Okay. So, yeah, I like I said, every area is different. It depends on your doe population. Depends on the pressure that's getting put on the woods as far as that stuff goes. I tend to look at terrain in the off season, not so much worried about if there's bucks there, but I look for natural funnels. I look for pinch points coming in and out of bedding areas and stuff like that. So that's my intel in the off season. I'll go out if I'm out walking with the dogs or something. We'll look for sheds. Gives me an idea. Okay, that buck survived, even if I don't have him on camera. Food sources, I can kind of see what's budding and blooming. If it's going to be a good mass of crop, that gives me some indications of stuff that's going on too. But it's kind of cool. You got a little bit of a different outlook on how to go about it, and that's good. It works for you, and like I tell people, use what works for you. If that's what works, don't fix it if it ain't broke.
See, a lot of my deer disappear. I was actually just talking to Brett last weekend. I had gotten COVID last weekend, and my cameras have kind of been dead. And I decided to sleep in on a Saturday morning. And of course, that's when I think from 6 a.m. till 12 o'clock midday, I had 7 different, 5-year-old deer come through, like deer I haven't seen since August come through. I mean, just an unbelievable amount. And I think a lot of that has to do with my doe numbers. My doe numbers are super, super, super high on this property. So they're not fighting over does. They're not running rampant on my property. So they, with it being how it is, they'll just push a doe into one side of the property during the rut and just not move like that. I mean, they're not fighting each other over deer, over other does. It's just, there's so many, they don't need to. So I got, 4 or 5 bucks that are good mature bucks, but they don't need to be here.
Little boy in the corner. Yes. Can we answer your question?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Andrew said something and it caught me because it's been something that's bugging me the last week or two. What is one? Okay, I'm trying to word this. I hate. Who the fuck? What the fuck? Was that some type of nationwide alarm shit?
Yeah. Every time Brett talks, it goes off.
I hate it when people refer. I will fuck some people's shit up, man.
It won't happen, Jen. I promise you.
Yeah, well.
I hate it when people refer to their piece of property that they own as a farm. I've heard other podcasts and well, my farm down in Kentucky, it's not a fucking farm, man. That to me, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I really don't. It's the biggest pet peeve of mine. When I was listening to one podcast and they referred to it as their farm, I stopped listening to it because I was already pissed. And I was like, fuck it. I'm moving on to another episode. I'm like, I can't listen to this. They refer to it as a farm.
That's such a ridiculous thing to get upset over.
I know. I'm so fucking petty. I feel like a basic white bitch, but I'm just like,
so
I don't know.
Attitude.
When someone refers to
money
that,
off of?
Huh?
What dictates it as a farm? Is it just what they make? How they make a living off of it?
It's a farm. Oh my gosh, I'm already getting heated about this. A farm is something that farmers use to grow crops of corn and soy and wheat and all this other shit. That's a fucking farm.
What about farm animals? What if there's no crops, but there's farm animals? There he is, getting red. Yeah. Smoke coming out of the ears.
Well, my family had a cattle farm up west of the
Okay, but that's different. But if someone in the hunting community and they're saying, well, my farm down in whatever state, and they don't do anything farming related, and it's only because they're doing food plots or something like that for their deer, it's not a fucking farm. That's a piece of property that you own. Not a fucking farm. It is not a farm. It is
farm
not,
deer.
It's not a farm. It's not a farm. It's not a farm.
So I'm just going to let you know, my 14 acres here is just big woods, and it's like basically on a mountain. I'm only going to call it a farm from now on. Only.
Good.
There's just so you know, there's
show ever again.
There's zero crop on it. There's zero animals on it. There's zero anything besides trees and rock, and that's it. I want you to know when you hear me in a year and a half, 2 years say my farm, just know that I'm talking to you.
If I listen to one of your episodes,
sprinkle some corn in the ground and grow two rows of corn, and then it's a farm.
Yeah, then that'd be farm. If any of the audience out there and they're watching the show and they refer to their stuff as farms, stop following us because I'm not going to be happy about it.
You know, there goes the 3 followers.
Hi. So what annoys me is when you're talking about hunting on maybe your so-called farm or your woodlot, and somebody brings up they golf. So, I guess we can have pet peeves about that. So,
or bowling.
Yeah, or gun hunting.
Yeah, or gun hunting.
Yeah,
you know?
don't gun hunt. Oh God, don't gun hunt.
Brett's a big gun hunter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on his
We're
farm.
gonna get him into it. We're gonna get
On
him
his
into
farm.
it.
So
That's fine.
do all you boys gun hunt or no?
Fuck
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I grew up in
Oh.
the '70s gun hunting. That's primarily what we did.
huge. Yep.
And then recurve pretty much all through almost
Nah.
high school.
No, not at all.
My first
No,
compound.
not at all. I hate guns.
I'm going to tell you, I have an arsenal of guns, but I haven't taken a gun out in the woods for a deer, and I'm going to say over 10 years or so. I don't know. It's not been my thing, but I love the tradition of it. I love the camaraderie. I love the thought of, like, we used to go to deer camp up in Pennsylvania every year, and
Yep.
I'm going to tell you, like, that's some of my best hunting memories are doing some of those things with a rifle in my hands. But I don't know. I just haven't done it. I know
prefer archery
you know.
too. I do. I would rather if they were to ban one of them, which I hope they don't. But it looks like in our area, it looks like muzzleloaders getting pushed out for fucking rifles now.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotten gay here.
It
Where
got
now you can
extremely
use
gay.
guns,
Hey, that's
rifles.
offensive to people. But here on our show, we don't give a fuck if we offend people.
Yeah,
How do you know he didn't mean the happy gay? Like I'm happy, happy.
No, fucking gay. No, pretty much gay. Might as well just get rid of muzzleloader.
Why?
I mean, it's totally stupid.
That sucks,
there's
man.
no point in muzzleloader anymore.
Yeah.
And it's
I mean, you're still only allowed like straight wall, but still. I mean,
and David, don't quote me because I don't know exactly about it, but I know muzzleloader is only like a week long, and it's only in a certain part of the state.
Yeah, the entire state.
yeah. It's
No,
all
but
over.
isn't
It's
there
different times, different zones.
In Detroit, mostly Detroit, downtown Detroit.
Yeah, most of Detroit it's all year.
No,
That's where Brett vacations, I hear.
Yeah,
Is that where you play your golf?
yeah. Right next to the Detroit Correctional Facility.
Get a ball
Get a
over
good
the
audience there.
The caddies there are whiz.
You know, instead of like, hey, put the ball in the windmill, it's yo, man, put the ball in the windmill.
Yeah.
And then it goes over the river. Oh, you hit the windmill, eh?
It's super it's probably super wrong to say. I'll probably get super judged even by you guys, but I wish they would take away gun hunting in New Jersey altogether. I really do. And it sounds bad, but people try to hunt New Jersey with guns like they do in Pennsylvania or New York or Michigan, where they're putting on deer drives. And every year there's houses getting shot, there's cars getting shot. It's so bad. Like, we don't have enough land to hunt it like you would in Pennsylvania or something like that. So like, and on top of that, I'd say 50% of the bucks I'm eyeing up are dead after gun season.
I'm honestly surprised a lot of states still allow that. When I'm talking about like deer drives, like in my opinion, that's like the unsafest fucking thing in the world.
Oh yeah.
Like, how is that not banned? Like, I don't know.
How do you ban it? What do you say? You can't walk through the woods? Like,
Oh, you can.
it's
walk,
a tough way to ban it.
I'm saying, but like, as far as I know, when it comes to deer drives, you have like a line of people, and they're pushing on the deer to one other group of people.
You'll have your group on outside of both sides, and then
Yeah.
two guys on the end. Usually, hopefully, with shotguns, and they're not shooting towards you with 338s or .6s or something.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why I don't mind doing a deer drive with like Dave up there. We got like the Flot or like Battle Drill 1, right? Like that's what we're going to focus on. So, yeah, I'll do a deer drive with you. I've done them in the past.
Yeah, me too.
There's a time and a place, but as of right now, yeah, I completely agree with Brett for once here. Like,
Wow,
yeah,
for
deer
once.
Well, I'm gonna say selfishly.
That lipstick you're wearing, Johnny?
I just kind of wish selfishly that they would take away hunting and not hunting, but gun hunting in Jersey. And, man, they blow out our farms. I know I agree to like some of our private pieces, like you can hunt it all bow season, but once gun season comes, you can't hunt it. And it's like, man, you put in all that
Brett's got
time
that
and
problem.
These
So-
guys
Yeah.
run
Yeah.
this property. They just drive it 6 days in a row. They
They
just
blow-
drive this farm 6
They-
days in a row and just shoot everything.
They blow Brett's place up too.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. I just saw yesterday. Yesterday, I finally saw 2 mature deer that I was praying made it through the rifle season, and they did. And I knew that they would I knew one would for sure because he's the oldest deer on the property. I knew he would most likely live because he's smart. And on the neighbor's property, they left up corn and switchgrass. So they just hid out in that shit all year. And now with the snow coming, they're like, well, fuck, I can't sit there all day long. And like I said, from November 16th till yesterday, I didn't see one mature deer at all on my cameras. And I have my cameras in some great fucking places. Let's just say this. I was seeing great deer leading all the way up to November 15th. As soon as the 16th came, they didn't see shit.
Yeah.
He had a lot more. He had a lot more before that, but he realized he had the camera facing the tree.
Yeah. I thought
His
when
face
they
in the
started
house.
to put it on the tree, for some reason I was aiming it at the tree, and I kept getting a lot of pictures of squirrels and shit. And I was wondering why. And then I talked to Squatch, and he goes, "No, Brett, you're supposed to turn it around from the
Well,
tree
you-
and face
you can
it in
hunt
the
the
actual
squirrels.
woods."
It's a good start.
Yeah. So
Then
I
he
was
Not a
an
bad
idiot.
start.
Then he
How
started
big is your
going off.
property, Brett? That you
But
hunt?
80.
80?
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah,
you can
80
bump deer. Push them right to the neighbors.
What's that, John?
You have an 80-acre farm that you hunt?
You son of a bitch.
He just said
Yeah.
it.
The funny farm.
To lose.
Sayonara, sucker!
It's the funny farm.
It's the golf
Well,
farm.
It actually is a farm though, because
Oh, here
the
we go.
cornfield lot that's 40 acres. The owner leases it out to a company that farms the corn.
Whatever you have to tell yourself, man.
That's
I
it's
I
not
actually
corn.
hunt a golf course, so
Oh,
I'll,
so do I.
I'll keep that
John
in mind
does.
too for you, Brett.
I'm gonna hope for a hole in one. Of course.
You hunt any graveyards?
We
I
have-
had the chance to. I have the permission to, but I just can't bring myself to do it.
What? They're
But-
dead. They don't care.
I'm gonna be honest.
they're
It's
dead.
more because there's not anything there, and my wife's always saying, she's like, "That's bad juju," and this and that. And I tell her like, I've done enough bad in my life to already have the juju. Like that's not going anywhere. Me hunting a graveyard isn't gonna affect
Hunting
my
graveyard
good or
is
bad
good
karma.
juju.
If I could hunt a graveyard, I'd be talking to the motherfuckers while I'm in the tree stand.
You're goddamn right.
Talk to
Like,
myself.
hey, Bill.
We actually hunted behind the headstones.
That's
That's what
awesome.
we did.
That's a great blind.
Yeah.
If there was a good enough buck in it, I would. 100%.
Yeah, we did. We
I,
killed tons of bucks because it butts up to the swamp.
I,
A
I,
swamp.
there's not much I would. I get that all the time where people say, "Well, what do you need to hunt a property? Just a good one. That's all. Just point me in the direction of a good one. If you have a good one on your property, I have no problem sitting there 15 days in a row."
Tiffany Fitzgerald commented, "Bad juju,"
I don't even see any of the comments.
because I just put it up there. You dumb fuck, right there. Look,
Oh, there it is.
read.
Right,
right
here.
there.
No, I don't think it's bad juju. I think it's like I said, maybe it is bad juju, but I'm already not the greatest person in the world, so like it's not really gonna affect it. I mean, it is what it is.
I would just
I'm-
be walking into the graveyard and just be like, "I'm so sorry, but thank you. Sorry for your rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace. Thank
Yeah,
you
I'm
for
just
allowing
like,
me."
Point me to a good one. That's what I'd ask.
Then you spill blood all over the grave. You're like, fuck yeah, fuck
Yeah.
you, fuck yeah.
It is what
Slaughter
it is.
the innocent, fuck yeah.
I would find the
I'd be
nearest
happy
hunter.
somebody killed a monster buck over my grave.
Dude, are you shitting me? Hell yeah.
I'd be dancing in the grave, like, "Yeah, buddy."
With my,
this is
with
what I
my
would do.
putter. Yeah, buddy.
I just clubbed the shit out of this fucker.
So I just came up with this new thing that we're going to do on the show. Okay.
Oh, God.
So next season, when you get permission to hunt in the graveyard, you have to have a lady on that does a seance, and you can have her on as a guest with
I ain't fucking around with all that.
voices, and then, oh yeah, remember when Brett walked in and I saw him with his bow, and he put down his golf club, and he went and hunted the farm behind me. And
Have a medium reading all the
yeah,
spirits.
medium.
There's someone here who I have a sense that they're making fun of golfers. They're telling the deer not to come by this way.
Wait, here you go. Here you go. Oh, the spirits are telling me that Brett didn't make it this morning. He was at the Waffle House.
Oh, he gets blueberry pancakes made every morning. He don't need a Waffle House.
I think it'll be around noon.
Now, see, this is why I like this show, Brett, because all the bad shit that you're not supposed to talk about in the hunting world. Like I've gone on a couple podcasts where people had to cut things out, and they're like, "No, we can't play that. Like we can't. That's not a good look for us. That's not this. That's not that." And it's such bullshit. I love coming on this show because it doesn't matter what you say or how you say it. I enjoy being able to say whatever I want.
Just a mental note. Have you looked at the three of us? We're probably not the best to be on a show.
I mean, the best way to eat venison is just like my eggs, poached.
Johnny.
No, I had a guy. I won't say his name. Funny enough, Squatch actually knows him. But he asked me like in a, I don't want to say it was a podcast. It was more just like a short recording of questions. But he asked me. He was like, "Oh, like how do you feel about crossbows?" I was like, "I don't really like them." And he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, how do you feel about rifles?" I was like, "Again, I'm not a big fan of them." And he was like, "Oh, so why do you hate other hunters?" And I was like, "That took a turn. I don't hate other hunters. It's just not my thing." And he was like, "But don't you think other people should do what they want?" Yeah, but that wasn't your question. You said, "How do I feel about them?" And I don't really personally like them that much. And so I felt like he spun it around on me in a bad way. And I was like, "Listen, I could talk really bad about them if you want me to. Like if you want me to, I can." Your question wasn't to talk bad about them. Your question was
liberal thinking. That's liberal questioning.
A little bit. Not
Speaking of that,
but
have you already seen that they're already making ICE? Like the moment that Trump won, ICE was basically saying, "All right, finally, let's get some fucking shit together." Teams were already being put in place, and I already listened to half of the episode so far with Joe Rogan and what was his name? I can't remember his name right now. But
the big guy, the big tatted guy that has a podcast.
It was Joe Rogan, and it was like his.
Oh, he's talking to somebody.
He's talking to somebody, and it was like his third episode release that was kind of current. I pulled it up. Evan Hafer. I might be saying that wrong, but I'm sorry. But he was talking about this tier 1 that Trump is putting with ICE.
Yeah.
And basically,
he's talking about tier 1 special forces.
Yeah, let's just say,
killing the cartels.
The cartels are going to be fucking pissing themselves.
Oh, they will.
Already are.
You know how bad I wish I was still in at this point? Like, I'm looking at my buddies that are in right now. I mean, granted, we would have all been in right around the 20-year mark now. But they're like, dude, we're going. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I'd be jealous.
You see in the matter of what was it, like 5-6 days after he got elected, he got Putin and the Ukrainian president together to come to an agreement on stopping the war.
Yeah. No, they're all scared. They're scared. They're scared shitless.
They should be.
He didn't even do anything, and he's already getting Iran and Israel to come to the fucking table.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, I was at work one day, and I have an undercover cop come in, and he's already talking to one of our. I'm not going to get into too depth about the person what she does, but she does a certain part of the job in the courthouse, and she came and talked to me after he left, and she said he was asking me for any information on illegals in the area. I'm like, I'll go fucking help you out, man. You need my help, I'll do whatever you fuck you want, man. And whose fucking phone? That's the biggest pet peeve. You all know that. We are trying to have a sophisticated educational show here.
Actually, that's
golf and farms.
And it was just a link from a buddy who sent me something from a gun company about sales. So I'll be checking that one out later.
I missed two of these comments here from Tiffany. Andrew's married to a crossbow hunter. He cannot say anything bad about crossbow hunters.
Oh, checkmate.
And then she goes on to say Trump, Trump, Trump. But
It's not a bad thing. I just don't. I think it deserves its own season. Brett, we talked a lot about this on the podcast that I still have yet to release yet. It will be out tomorrow though. Been busy, but
sure.
On our podcast, we talked about a lot of controversial shit, and just because you don't do it, it doesn't mean that you think it's like a horrible thing. I don't think crossbow hunting is like bad. I do think it belongs in its own season. I think it belongs with its own deal. I don't think it's bad. I shoot further than most crossbows. So to me, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, you could say that that's unfair, but it's not that. It's just there's an aspect of it that is significantly easier than compound hunting.
You don't have to draw back.
You don't have to draw back.
You're just sitting there and aiming, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot less to it. So if that's what gets you out in the woods, that's awesome. Happy for you. Great. But it's not, it should have its own season. I'm not saying it should be limited to a 6-day firearm season in New Jersey or whatever, but there should be some kind of regulation on time, because you could hunt the same exact time as that than you can with a regular bow. So I do think that there should be a separation in seasons for crossbows and regular bows.
So New York, the last like 5 or 6 days opens up crossbow, but bow season is still running. So you can go out and hunt with the crossbow. I did it last year because I've got 2 of them, and I just always wanted to see what the hell they did to a deer. And I took a doe with it. I just was like, you know what? Let me get a doe with the thing, see what it does. And tell you what, it works pretty damn good. It's pretty cool, but you don't get the same feeling like you do when you kill one with a bow. You know, but I had to try it. You know, I was like one of those things. I was like, you know what? Let me see what it's before I can make a judgment on it. Let me try it. Let me see what it's about. For old time, like my dad, he's got a bad shoulder, so for him to pull back a bow anymore, it's pretty tough. So I got him the same exact one, and it has the hand crank. And, you know, it gives him a little bit of opportunity while it's still warm. You know, he's an older guy, so he can get out and, you know, still have the fun of shooting a bow, but, you know, kind of using a rifle kind of setup too. So it has its advantages for certain people. You know, it's not a bad thing. But what really gets me is when they got youth season with a gun in a kid's hand in bow season. That pisses me the frig off.
Yeah.
It pisses me off. It's not about a kid getting a deer. I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. I've broken a lot of people in on getting their first animal. I'm all for it. But why during freaking bow season? You got a kid that's inexperienced. Yeah, the adults with them, but you're shooting a freaking gun off in the middle of bow season. I don't want you scaring my damn deer during rifle season. You know,
yeah, I don't know how that works in your state. I think our youth season with the gun is the day before it opens up for everyone else.
Yeah. Well, that would be okay.
Usually the weekend before a bow. It's like
whatever it is.
September is for Michigan. Yeah. And next year, starting, they can't shoot bucks anymore. Does only.
Now, see, that's good. I like that. Yeah. I like that.
Michigan's finally doing something right for once.
I'm just happy my kids got their bucks before they did that. So that's all.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know. I mean, that might. I don't want to say it takes some kids out of it, because when I was a kid, I was shooting anything that was moving. But I think if a kid wanted to shoot a buck, he should be allowed to, whether he's a youth or not. I think he should be allowed to on youth day. But I mean,
but it's mainly to cut out the guys that are out there trying to shoot those giant bucks and like, oh, look at this giant buck that my kid got.
It's those type of I'm not.
I can see
weed
that.
That shit out, and I think in my opinion, when I heard that gonna happen, I was like, it forces the kids that really want to get into hunting, and forces the parents and stuff like that to get them involved in hunting, to show what hunting truly really is about. It's not out there going out there and shooting the giant deer right it's whatever age it is now. I thought they got rid of youth season though for a second.
I would imagine probably not.
They never had it. They never had it when I was a kid.
Now, see, my father didn't let me hunt youth season, like with the gun, or like any of the youth days that were before anyone else, like before Bo or with this or that. Like he didn't let me do that. He didn't want me to have that, like that spoiled section. Like he wanted me to work just as hard as anyone else. So I never got the day before gun season when no one was allowed to hunt with a gun. Like I was allowed to go. Like we never got that. So he made it where if you're gonna hunt, you're gonna do it the same as your neighbor. You're gonna go out on opening day and you're gonna do this and do that, and that was that.
Well, I think there another reason to that is because you look at it like any kid, like leading up to it or whatever, they're shooting, let's just say they shot a 150-inch deer. That's their standard now. And they go out there for like 2 years and like, well, I'm not even seeing anything even remotely close to that. Because you shoot a 150 in the state of Michigan, that's a once in a lifetime. You got to be doing some right shit to do that consistently to see them. But generally, it's a fucking unicorn. And you're setting a kid up that's like, what, 12, 14, whatever years old, to be able to start off at that. You're going to get them out of hunting within 4 years if they don't see that on a consistent basis, in my opinion.
I think you got to know what your property can and can't do, and you got to be realistic. Like me and you talked about it, Brett. Like I love the juries. I love what they do, like managing the deer and doing all this and doing all that. And I think it's awesome. They've taken hunting into a full-time job, and that's what they've done. They shoot the biggest, baddest deer every single year. But the realistic factor to that is that 95% of the people that are watching their shows are not going to have the opportunity to shoot multiple 200-inch deer. Like it's just not, it's not realistic. Like you need to set realistic goals. I love when people say, I'm only shooting 170-inch deer. First of all, most of the people that are saying that can't count to 170. And second of all, if you don't have a 170-inch deer on your property, you can't kill a 170-inch deer. So some people just need to be more realistic with their goals. And that goes for kids and everything. And you made a good point. Like I see it every single day on social media. I'm sure you guys do too, that you're seeing, 10-year-olds shooting 180-inch deer. Like that's just not realistic to maintain for the rest of your life. Like it's just not. I tell my wife the pace that she's on isn't realistic. Like you're going to have a down season and it's going to hurt like hell to have it. But that's realistic. Like having a year that you don't shoot a buck, that's most hunters. Like that's a lot of hunters. Most people don't have every day to go hunt. Most people don't have 1,000-acre properties in Iowa. Most people don't have those beautiful, nice manicured 80-acre properties in Michigan like Brett does that we could just go do whatever we want on.
Yeah, that nice farm he's got. Beautiful.
It was funny. I was just talking to my buddy from Michigan, and I told him, I said, man, I just think, because he said the same thing. He was like, oh, if you shoot a 135-inch deer in Michigan, like, put that in your pocket because that's a incredible deer for that area. And I thought, man, you know what I think it is? I just think Michigan guys just don't like getting out of the box blind. They don't like, doing like the work like you, Brett. Like I know you're big on just sitting in the box blind, not moving much, not doing much, kind of making sure you have coffee and like a thermos and heater and all that in there.
It sounds like squatting in his condo.
No, yeah. I'm just thinking if you
that's not all the time.
If you got off the golf course, maybe you'd find those bigger.
I don't even own a box blind. I don't even own a pop-up. I'm running my.
There he goes. He's stretching for a putt.
Man, my is about the size of a box blind right now.
Well, the problem Brett has is he has a head twice the size of most people, and we try not to make it obvious on the show.
It makes it tough.
So you have to hide that shiny ass thing in a blind because you'll just scare all the game away. So that's
he can't
why.
be. Yeah, I mean, you can't be too high off the ground because that thing's like a sail. He goes and draws his bow back, and his head catches the wind. And he's like this.
Is that why you're not pushing the thick stuff? You get too much briar over the top of the noggin
no.
there?
It's just the opposite. He's like a rhino. He puts his head down. He just freaking bumbles right through it. Yeah. No, he's good like that. But
I'm
we
ready
just,
to come out elk hunting with me.
what we just found out, though, he had these little circles on each side of his temple. That was like the center of gravity things that the crash dummies have, and he got that removed. Yeah.
On a serious note, though, I do wonder why. Because I've heard that from a ton of people. Like that Michigan's deer just don't like the genetics. Like it's tough to find those bigger, older deer like
they
that.
don't let them last over 2 years.
No.
I do wonder why, because Michigan is a gigantic state. It's got some of the most public land you can hunt. It's got, I mean, it does have a ton of guys, but I mean, it's no different than Pennsylvania. And I mean, you find really good deer like that.
Over 100 inches is during archery.
I won't tell you which one of the two here that had, well, the three of them, but beautiful deer. But they got wasted by EHD.
Yeah.
I'm talking
140s.
Yeah, I'm talking stuff they had good. Real good.
120 in the 120s.
Like you're not going to find gigantic deer in Jersey. Okay. You do find big deer in Jersey, but I guess you gotta really put your nose down and really, really look for them. But it's not common. But I feel like that's kind of expected out of a tiny little state like New Jersey. I do feel like that's kind of expected. I feel like states like PA and Michigan, they get even from myself on PA, like you get a bad rap about how many hunters and the genes and deer are small and this and that. But I feel like if you really put time in, you'll find them eventually.
Oh, they're there.
I'll get to what Michigan's problem is, but first I want to ask John a question real quick. John, are you okay? You look so fucking depressed.
He's on the show.
His phone's
right
broke.
now at the moment.
He said his phone's broke. He can't look at porn.
He can't look at his grinder account.
Dude, my grinder's going crazy, and that's all I see right now.
His phone went up to look at it.
Now, you said Brett broke that when you brought him home.
I did.
Oh, he was trying to limit any kind of calling going out in case he did something to you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He stepped on it. He says, my wife is not going to get these videos.
Not going to let this fucking shit get leaked.
Yeah, this shit is not going online.
I think Michigan's problem is one, I'm not going to talk about the government like for Michigan and the DNR and shit.
Definitely too many golf courses.
There's too many golf courses, and I'm on too many of them anyways. The problem is I think is you got people that are out there going out there and shooting whatever they want to shoot because we get 2 buck tags, and they're going to see a nice 8-pointer that's 2.5 years old. What the fuck is he holding up?
Look at that, Dave. How old's that?
Oh, yeah.
Hodgson.
What is that?
That's reloading powder.
Yep.
Reloading powder?
It's H110. You don't even see that. This thing's older than me, Brett.
I was going to say, I don't even think they make it no more.
It's older than me. Still goes bang, though. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But, yeah, then you have coyotes. You have a lot of predators killing a lot of shit. And EHD now was the problem. And it's like I said, especially, and then here in Michigan, you only got. I'm just gonna stop talking. We'll just have Squatch hold up everything that he wants to show up in his house.
No, I was just sharing some shit with Dave while you were going on.
I'm gonna come to Michigan next year.
You were going.
I was gonna do it this year. I was gonna come up there this year, but I just ran out of time. I'm gonna come up to Michigan next year and hunt some public land.
Johnny's got to go get the other half gallon. He's got a hot date from Grindr coming over.
Let me tell you, it must be a bad show
because his phone's fucked up.
He's having a hard time, man. He's freaking. Yeah. He's having a hard time.
But anyways,
so do you stand hunt at all, Andrew?
Yeah, that's 90. Even when I bump bucks, that's what I do. I hunt from a saddle.
You go, so you run in and just get back in their bedroom in your saddle.
Yeah, that's. So like Delaware, we hunted Delaware this year, and
you like it?
Yeah, it was a great time. I had a ball there, and I think it's because when I hunt here on my small private pieces, I don't get aggressive, and I enjoy hunting aggressive. Like I enjoy because we all know what like a hard bump is. Like if you're getting one that's blowing at you for 15 minutes and then takes off, like that's not a bump. That's that deer blowing out of that county. But if you get like when I was walking in Delaware, I had bumped a good one, and like everything lined up perfect. Where I was like, man, I'm gonna kill this buck tonight, and I almost did it. He was just out of range. He kind of rode that like 80-yard mark for me, and it didn't work out. But I had a blast in Delaware because there's no harm, no foul. I mean, there's nothing I could do wrong that's gonna ruin my season there. So I just walked a ton of property. I actually didn't see any other hunters with me. Like I hunted with a couple buddies, but like I didn't come in contact with any other bow hunters on the first 4 days of the season. Like it was awesome. I had a great time.
Yeah,
I was bumping deer left and right. For whose ever spot those are, I apologize, but I was bumping deer left and right, and I was having a great time.
I think Peyton and Mike were down there too at one point.
Yeah, I was hunting with Mike and Peyton.
Okay.
It was funny. My truck broke down there, and I was actually with Mike in the one spot, and we were sitting there kind of like trying to figure out like the issue with my truck. And I remember just turning around and being like, wow, this is actually a nice spot to hunt. Like, I think we should set up here tonight. And that's when Mike almost killed that one buck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty funny how that worked out. But yeah, it's an awesome state. I mean, it was way more than I expected it was going to be. I had a great time.
Just to fill the rest of you guys in with Boondocks hunting there with Mike Nitre and Frankie and all them guys.
Yep.
Andrew's in on the competition with all of us that are on there. And he's been on their show and podcast. That's how I know of him too a little bit. But yeah, we're all like a little happy family on the freaking competition, which I could give two shits about, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to win that competition.
Yeah, I don't care either. It's just I'm just it's like, hey, $20, you want to get in? Yeah, okay. Like
there's a lot of guys shoot does. I just can't bring myself to shoot that many does a year. But,
they're killing them. They're killing them.
One guy that's not in the competition, but we both know. I'll tell you, I'm sure you know it, but I'll drop his name after we're not live. But I mean, he killed like 12 does off of a permit piece, like a special permit in New York, and he killed like 12 does off that property. I think that's just too much.
Actually, it's 14.
We're talking about the same guy.
Yeah, I know who it is.
Okay, like all ages.
I like to piss on his forehead.
Yeah, he did a number on that property. He did a number on that property. Won't be the same for many years.
He's gonna get a nice awakening when he runs into the Squatch face to face.
Yeah, I don't care that much. At the end of the day, it's
trust me, he's gonna find out what fucking old school is all about.
Do whatever you want to do. I mean, in my eyes, I'm kind of at the point in my hunting career where I just I just passed on a buck tonight. I went out tonight. I was hoping to tell Brett that I couldn't make it tonight because I was hunting and I was hoping to put one through the cage, but I just passed on one tonight. He's like a 4-year-old, just that weird 6-pointer that just won't grow. He just hasn't grown in 3 years. He's never going to grow more than what he is. Yeah. And I passed him only because I had a couple other bucks show up, but I don't know. I'm just at a point where rack definitely does matter a little bit. The age matters the most, and I don't know the game with the deer too. Like if he's playing a wild game of cat and mouse, that's gonna get me going. Once he fools me, that's when it's like, wow, now it's game on. Now I get all fired up.
It's time to play the game.
But I don't know, 14 does or whatever the case was. That was he did a number on that property.
I just don't know how you get 14 permits to kill that many deer in New York State. I think it needs to be looked into a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way you get that many permits to kill deer in New York
It's like
State.
a park too. Brett, actually, we were talking about this. It's like a park where there's only, like, I remember talking to him and he's like, yeah, there's like a good herd of like 30 of them. So at the time I think it was like 7 or 8. He was like, my 7 dead deer aren't going to do anything to the herd. And it's like, first of all, 7 out of 30 is a huge number. That's a huge number for one. And 2, now it's, I guess, 14. That's, I mean, you're talking damn near half the herd. That's not good. That property's going to suffer. And what sucks is that it makes other people look bad.
Hey, you know what? He's, like I said, his time's coming.
Well, Andrew, we're getting here to the end of the show here. I just want to say thank you for so much for coming on the show and taking time on your day to come on the show. For anyone that wants to follow along your journey and stuff like that, how can they do so?
Well, they can follow me coming to Michigan, and I'm gonna hunt the bordering piece of Brett, and I'm gonna kill all of his deer this year. So to follow along on that, that'll be fun. Die Hard Outdoors on Instagram. That's where I'd say most of our content's posted. We came up with a YouTube 2 months ago or so it's still slow rolling, but that's Die Hard Outdoors on YouTube, Instagram, and then the Die Hard Outdoors podcast. Eventually Brett's episode will air, hopefully. But that's that one.
At some point.
Yeah, eventually, whenever I get a second. But so it's Die Hard Outdoors for Instagram, YouTube. It's the Die Hard Outdoors podcast for that. You can't find it on Apple Podcasts. That's just never going to happen. I'm having the craziest issue with these people to try and get it on Apple. So at the moment, it's on just about every other platform besides Apple, Spotify, everything else. That's about it.
I spent like 2 hours trying to fix your fucking shit. And I don't know with Apple, and I don't know what the hell happened. It's the weirdest fucking thing.
I would go back and forth with them, Brett. Back and forth with their tech guys, where they were like, okay, so then do this, and then you should be good. So then I go to do it. We hang up the phone. I go to do it. It doesn't work. And then I have to set up an appointment for 3 days later where they call me and say, oh, that's because you did this. So now you have to do this. And then I do it. And then it doesn't work. And then I have to get an appointment 3 days after that for them to tell me, well, no, you didn't do that right. And so at this point, it's almost like I just don't even care if it's on Apple. Like, if you really want to listen to my podcast, just go to Spotify. That's what you got to do. Just go to Spotify.
Spotify's on everything.
Yeah, just go to Spotify.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your night. And stay safe here in Michigan, because I'm sure the storm here in Michigan is going to be moving its way out there to New York and New Jersey. So, Squatch and Andrew, look for it.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me on. Had a blast.
It's okay, show. So,
yeah, it's all right.
That's a good rest of your night, fellas.
At least the show's better than your golf game. So.
Oh wow! Oh, he comes in with a stinger at the end.
The only difference is instead of one handicap, he's got three of them.
Both arms.
Boys, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem.
All right, man.
I have to go, man.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, he comes in with a good stinger right at the end. Man, that was a good one too. Anyways, anyone out there still watching the live show, I greatly appreciate it. We all know I don't like doing intros and outros, so I'll make this quick. That's going to conclude another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. I think it was episode 115. Holy shit. Soon we're hitting 120, and then eventually 150, and then eventually 200 episodes. Holy crap, we're moving along here quickly. If this show gave you some good insights, made you laugh, made you think, it'd be greatly appreciated if you can give us a like, subscribe. Our goal is to get to like 215. Hopefully people can help us get to that point, and then we start getting a new goal. The audio version of this podcast is going to be released on tomorrow morning, Monday at 5 a.m. So look forward to that. All our episodes get released on Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 a.m. Tuesdays, once we start doing those live shows, they'll be coming on Wednesday mornings again. So with that being said, make sure to put your cord in the slot machine. We'll see everyone next weekend when we have Frank. No, I can't remember who we got on. We still have so many guests coming lined up anyways. But also make sure to check out our new website, www.whitetailadvantage.com. Everything's redone on there, so make sure to check it out. If you want to book an episode with me, everyone from the team, or someone individual from the team, you can do all that stuff on our website. Go check out our website when you can. And then go check out Rec Broadheads, Grizz Media, and Magnus Broadheads as well. And again, thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see everyone next week, next Sunday.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.